The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel, and we are here for your final one of the season. And Decker, start off. We didn't win the game, but what did we get, mate?
We lost, but we won, you know.
Get in.
Champions League, happy.
Surely we're qualified, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to go. Barely. Let's just jump straight. I don't want to feature too much on the game itself because let's be honest, everybody watching that game, that was probably one of the worst performances you're ever going to see in your life because we just didn't turn up. But it didn't matter at the end
You
of the
were
day.
very depressed about performance.
Yeah, I was
dreadful. Oh, it was dreadful. It was a dreadful performance.
At the end, towards the end of the game, everyone's cheering because Man U's telling me I shouldn't be relying on them. We should be turning these over. Not turning them over. I think we're a better team than Everton. But yeah, I was so conflicted yesterday. I was dead relieved, obviously, when being in Champions League. But I was so annoyed at the performance.
It was a terrible performance.
It feels wrong supporting Man United, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're not going to dwell too much on the performance because at the end of the day, Decker, it did not matter one single bit.
No, I didn't. And I know we've getting a stroke of luck, but I think it's a bare look that we've deserved. I really feel we've deserved that this season. And if you're given everything that we've done, and you think of not being able to strengthen in 3 transfer windows, certainly first team wise anyway. Yes, it isn't nice relying on other teams, but for once it went our way because so often, that type of thing doesn't happen for us.
Well, last year Man U won the cup final, and it's ironic that Man U winning a game.
Aye.
Yeah, they stopped
right
us
at the death. It was that stopped last season. This year, it's done with.
It's done with favour. Yeah. I mean, on the performance, it was poor. I wasn't happy with the team sheet. I knew what the formation was going to be, which I just don't think suits her. It does maybe in certain games, but we've stuck with it now for 2 or 3, and I think we've played well in any of them. Even though we beat Chelsea, I'm not, but we didn't play well. And yesterday was exactly the same again. Just it is hard when teams come and play that low block, and we'll struggle to break them down. But we weren't moving the ball. I don't think anyone played well except Pope. I think everyone played really poorly.
It was just really sloppy, weren't we? In possession, we gave the ball away so much, like just passing it into no man's land or straight to one of their players. Like Bruno done it a load of times.
I know he
never got sniffed, did he?
Jesus. But having 2 in the middle of the park, like you don't control. That's our thing, is the midfield.
Yeah,
how good we are. And obviously we've missed Joe Linton last month or whatever it is. But having just Sandro and Bruno in the middle of the pitch, they're getting overrun time and time again. And I thought Sandro played all right as it goes. I thought Pope, Sandro, and probably Burn made a couple of mistakes. But out of the defence, I thought he was a pick of the bunch, man. It's a low bar.
I thought Tino gave everything he could.
Tino. I thought
there was
Tino
a lot of times Tino got the ball and really wouldn't have any options.
Count as him a defender yesterday, since he was playing bloody as a second striker for most of the game.
He kept on tucking inside. Do you know what is? I know I wasn't going to go through the game, but at certain points of the game, I know Gordon got some, not abuse, but Gordon didn't have a great game, but far from it. But a lot of time, fans were urging him to push forward. But the reason he couldn't push forward is because Tino was overlapping and cutting inside, and he was like, as in like a number 10 role he was.
Yeah.
So meant if Gordon
left.
If Gordon pushes forward, then you've got a huge gap at the back. Yes, Dan Burn can fill in, but there was just a huge gap left open, and I felt a bit sorry when people were trying to push him forward. So he can't really move here. Like you stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Like, but forget about it.
Doesn't normally stop him from bombing on when there's nobody behind him, though, does it?
That is true. Bestie,
hello.
Let's jump straight to full time though.
Yeah,
because it was a funny old game. We don't normally rely on other teams doing us a favor, especially not this season.
Yeah.
Because it's normally panned out where most of the rivals that were going up and challenging for the Champions League spot have been playing Man United or Spurs the last handful of weeks.
Yeah.
And you kind of go into them games and think, well, they're guaranteed to get 3 points here. And I think everybody was looking at that Villa Man U game thinking, well, Villa have won that already.
Oh yeah, that 3 points in my head from like I was from weeks ago looking at the fixtures thinking, well, we need to beat Villa basically. We need to beat 69 points, which is what they would have had if they'd won all their games. Especially with Man U and Tottenham having got to the Euro or Europa League final. and just down tools as a result. Obviously, we saw Tottenham got beat 4-1 yesterday. Or Brighton, it was 4-1. We've got to hide, not Brighton.
22 league defeats.
Well, it's the most
sensational.
It's the most for a team
that's some achievement.
That's not been relegated before.
They're lucky that the three teams that came up were so bad.
That
because they would have been well in the trouble.
But for Man U to do with the favour, yes, the referee did a bit of a favour as well. Ironically, the referee was called Bramall, and I'm sure when Villa had that goal given, they conceded a goal.
Yes, over the line.
I'm sure that happened to Bramall Lane.
Yeah.
Which is a nice little.
But
they've complained to the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean,
which is fair. I mean,
rightly so, because
it's a disgraceful decision. But they didn't seem to be quite.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I give what you're saying. Yeah, they weren't forthcoming when it went for them.
No, they weren't saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, that's relegated because yeah." So and that's a proper sliding door. So if they've gone back down again, they don't get Unai Emery in when he comes in. The money they get for Grealish ends up being rebuilding championship teams, and they're. Do
you think it's a bit of a stupid rule? I get it's there, right, and you can't change it. But if the referee didn't blow his whistle and the ball has hit the net, VAR then do what they should do, and then they override it.
And that's what they're complaining about.
Yeah,
the fact that the referee blew his whistle.
Yeah, I get it. But again, common sense just VAR just should look at it. Who cares if the ref blew his whistle, stuck it up his arse? I didn't care. Like he's blew the whistle because he thought it was a foul. It wasn't a foul. Then it's a goal.
I just don't remember the goal Shelby scored. That
I know
is it a foul? It's if you look by the letter of the law, it is because he's got two hands on the ball.
He has not
as momentarily as he does. He has two hands on the ball.
He doesn't when the striker kicks the ball.
He touches the ball, but he doesn't have control of the ball. Yeah, I think that's the difference.
He's had two hands on the ball.
But that's subjective.
Bounced out, and then he got it.
Is it Watkins it's a goal. Like.
It's a goal. 100% a goal.
I think referees, but it's weird because, like I say, that Shelby goal that Bramall then again weirdly. Did the whistle go for that?
No.
So that was one way of playing on that.
The linesman put his flag up. And Shelby kept on. He was the only one to keep on playing. Was it not the first time VAR came into us when daft like that?
It was
the first time. It was first VAR goal, wasn't it?
That had happened like that, I think. Yeah.
I think there had been a lot of problems with VAR, and then the referee went into the changing rooms before the game and said, "Listen, just play until you hear my whistle."
Yeah.
So Shelby was the only one that did that, and obviously it worked now.
But the opposite side of it, everybody's been complaining that the referees aren't allowed to referee games anymore.
Yeah.
The referee is refereeing his game now because it's
got it wrong.
Saying that it's wrong. Everybody's kicking off about the referee.
You
should be using VR. You cannot have it both ways.
If you let the game continue, then someone could get hurt, which
happens the other week.
And then but I think the rationale, but what they've said is because the referee has refereed so many games in the championship where the rules are slightly different, where they don't have VAR. It must just be like that's muscle memory. It's unfortunate. It's very unlucky for them because But I mean, they were already down to 10 men by this point, weren't they?
Yeah.
But they've only one up though.
And that is the most ridiculous sending off you're ever going to see.
You know what it is? Martinez is probably the most hilarious goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life. Because do you know what? It's Highland. There's a back pass and Highland's running onto it, but he's running away from goal. Right? He's running towards a corner, and Martinez thinks, "I am going to burn this place to the ground and ruin the whole season." He just comes running in and just clashes into him about 30 yards out of his box.
Off his actual track,
just barges into him.
Foul him. It's just shoulder.
It's outstanding.
Best keeper in the world, apparently.
Like, outstanding.
He's
and apparently in his last game for Villa.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah,
that was all of the talk going into the game. But then after the match, Emery's came out and said that no, it won't be. But he's out of contract. He's
it's like he just went, "Watch me fuck this up," and he did exactly that, and nobody saw it coming. But we'll go back to full-time bestie.
Oh yes, yeah.
What were your thoughts at full time? Because it was a strange atmosphere at St. James Park because full time whistle goes, the players are just stopped dead, completely stopped dead. And it went quiet, didn't it?
It was weird. I was, like I said before we started the conflicts out, I was really annoyed at the performance. It reminded us of the West Ham game where we went behind and just didn't know how to get back into the game. I thought the second half were worse than the first half. So I'm annoyed at that. I thought, well, we've had loads of injury time here. So we'll probably be the last game to finish, forgetting that it was after we got to half time that I found out about it was one of the lads who stands along there, I didn't know the lad's name, talking to that who stands on my left. And he says, "Oh,
he hasn't got a very good cue from that corner, has he?
Sent off at be quiet, Mark. He says, "Oh, Martinez has been sent off with Villa." We're talking like as the game, so obviously their game's still going on at this point. And did you notice the second half time was 20 minutes? It's James yesterday. Jimmy Hill tactics
I'm not sure if do you not think we've delayed it to catch up with everybody else to a certain extent? Or
that's what I thought it was.
I thought it was to get a bit of it so we know what we need to do.
No, I think it was the trying to get all the games to kick off the second half at the right time.
Because you get fined, don't you, if your players aren't out on the field at a certain point, ready for kick off the team.
Because
it was fined.
It was 20 minutes. It was
long.
It was 1 minute at the end of the first half. And the referee blew at a really strange time because we were on the attack. And normally we would kind of wait until the attack ends and it just there we are, we like 25 yards from goal. Wouldn't have done it with it probably, but and we're going like, where are they? Like, we're not keep long half time this and full time. So I'm thinking, well, their game's probably because I haven't got that in mind. I'm thinking, well, their game went half time later than so the likelihood is they're going to have more because it's 2-0.
Yeah.
It was strange because in the corner and obviously where we were and round and about, we all knew that they were getting beat.
Yeah.
In that it was already in injury time, so it was almost as if that message, and surely the bench would know that.
Yeah.
But it seemed that the stands knew that. Bar a bloody miracle.
The only
player
player who knew, Harvey Barnes came running over.
Yeah.
And he asked the bench, what's the score? Shea was in tears. Shea was on his knees. He was crying. And then Barnes ran over. He got hold of Burners. He obviously said they're getting beat. Yeah. He then ran over to Shea and Shea kind of sat up and was like, oh, okay, we're all right then, type of thing. So there was maybe half players did know and half didn't.
It was strange because Bruno seemed to react to the crowd reacting when the game was still going on.
Yeah.
I think I forget which goal it was now, but even at 1-0, lad who stands 2 feet down from me goes, "Oh man, you've got a penalty." And my reaction was, because I'm so used to Man U having a penalty being a bad thing. I'm like, nah. They're saying in the second or two, hang on a second, we need them to win. This is brilliant news, this. And then it was a weird one again at full time because I've got that going on. Obviously, we know what's going on, what kind of it's going to happen here, and then everyone finds out. And then as I'm kind of taking that in, Stevie Passmore, who I don't know if Steve's watching it tonight, guns if that's not a goodbye, I don't know what is. And it's Wilson going around the pitch.
Wilson,
I was like, fuck, I started crying. I was like, this is really weird. I'm not like, I don't feel upset, but for some reason I was like, nice as shit, this. And then,
at least one of them's tears was real then because Wilson was in a bad way.
He was,
he was walking around like.
So it was a really, really weird 5 minutes or so. And then everything just kind of settled down. It was great. One thing I was a little bit irritated about was when we were all singing at the end. I forgot what song it was now. And the whole Gallowgate was up, the East Stand, Milburn looked like we're up East Stand. I thought, why don't you do this during the game? Not playing but the singing at full time was like, this is what it should have been like on 90 minutes.
There was a lot of nerves in that crowd.
Nerves in the crowd on the field. But do you know what it is? It probably didn't come across very well on TV, but the corner right the way through the game was trying our hardest.
And in fairness, there was a good few times you could see the Leesers were singing, the Gallowgate was singing, even the pockets at the Milburn stand. But there was 5 people in the East stand singing. Literally 5 people.
But honestly,
I don't know what is wrong with the East stand.
When I sing along at full time, I'm like, wow, this sounds amazing. I mean, even without the PR music and all that, PA music, sorry. Like, well, why don't we do this? It's not hard to do this through the game. But we're kind of keep a beat like. And how fast were the songs yesterday?
That was fast.
I was single-handedly trying to slow them down and say, obviously, there's no chance.
Good luck.
Me being half a beat behind, whatever it was. Like, nah, it's gonna happen. Jordy's that one.
Jordy's.
It's weird, like, because my full-time experience was 4 different years, probably just because I did know what was happening in the Man United game.
Oh, no,
and the fact that it was
so lucky for us.
Wrapped up.
My brother Adam
had perfect signal.
Had signal right away through the game. He was one of the only people in St. James's Park that had signal. So he was updated.
Nick was in the Leasers and he had all through the game as well. I got out. I did before the game on the Wi-Fi, and then nothing.
It was like 6 rows behind us, all just like peering over with shoulders, like on Adam's phone, like keeping up the date.
There was one fella that sits to the left of us, a row behind, probably about 4 seats away. He was getting the scores as well on his phone, and somebody further down from the Gallowgate heard it. So he didn't believe it. So he ran up from his seat and he went, "You're going to have to show us your phone, so I believe you."
Actually, I went to Stevie again. I've just seen he's in the chat there. No, Stevie shouted, "Oh, Bessie, what's the scores?" I'm like, "I've 10 minutes ago." He's only got a radio. The one day he doesn't bring his radio at the game.
The only day you need it.
Come on.
The only day you need it. Decker, what was your opinions at full time? Was it centre relief after how bad we had played?
It was instant relief, I was really annoyed with the game, but once I knew, even a few minutes ago, once I knew that Man United were fine, then I was fine. I didn't even really matter if we didn't score or not. I just couldn't believe that the season that we've had. Immediately, in my opinion, that was my thoughts. Like, God, what a season this has been, man. Like, like getting in the Champions League, and yes, we're getting in by the skin of our teeth, but I go back to what I said 20 minutes ago. Whatever, like, I just feel we deserve that little bit of luck. Like I really do. And
has this been the best season for you as a Newcastle fan?
It is. It is. Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. We've won a trophy for the first time in our lives.
It is. But
just that alone.
I just remember me when I was a kid, and and like how I felt. Because it is the best season ever. But I have to say there was a particular season when I was younger, which I don't know. It'll take some. Well, it has been beaten, but it'll emotionally take some beating. Does that make sense? Because it's a funny one. Because I'm almost letting go of that one. I'm almost like saying, "Oh, bye."
I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know it sounds ridiculous because I should be really happy, and I am thrilled, by the way. But I'm just sentimental value. I'm like, oh, actually, that season's now gone and it's been beaten. But it is the best season we've ever had.
It's a weird one, knows. I mean, one of my favourite ever games, it's in James, I've mentioned this loads of times, was Would Be Forest 5-0, last game in 96, 97. Finished second, Borough went down, Sunderland went down, finished in the Champions League, kind of similar. And it was years and years and years. And similarly, that only got beat for me as a game at St James's when we beat Arsenal 2-0, 3-0 maybe. Last game of
Shiva's free kick.
No,
that one. No.
More recently, Bruno scored.
Oh, sorry, that. Oh, yeah, I get you.
Like after the takeover, and that was
amazing.
Kind of similar. Where it was like, oh, I don't want a new favorite game. I was quite happy with the Forest when I was.
Yeah, I get you.
In '97, I've been 15. Like that was my game, and it's changed.
I still think the job Howard's done is incredible. Like when you think investment and to win a trophy and then finish in the top 5, if you like.
I think that's one of the biggest points, Digger, the fact that somebody from the outside will look at that and say, well, it's Newcastle, they've got all this money behind them, they should be finishing that position, not realising that we haven't had any first-team additions for a long time.
Yeah, and I still don't think it gets spoken about enough from the outside media, personally. I know there's like Sir Craig Open that mentioned it again on his, and he said it very well, that like, yet again, we haven't been able to invest in how he's done this. But I don't really hear that much from anyone else, if I'm honest with you. I don't hear Neville or Carragher or anyone say how. I know they say he's done well, but I'm with you that I think a lot of people just think, well, they've got loads of money, they've spent loads of money, which thing is wrong. If you look at the team, we have spent a lot of money, I get that, but it's been quite ever present, that team, that 11.
It's a solid starting 11 that would seem to have as well.
Yeah.
There's not much deviation unless it's injuries,
which
invariably there is. Like, but it's been like 2 seasons with the same team, more or less now.
It is, yeah.
Mind what I will say about the game yesterday, there was a period about 20 minutes with Dan Burn left back. Man, I was terrified. I love Dan Burn. And this isn't a puppet mark for a change. But he went and it was like,
he did no wrong.
No, he didn't.
He did no wrong.
No, he didn't. I'm not saying he did.
He's just in his nerves.
I'm not saying that. I was nervous, and you could see the
unfounded nervousness.
It wasn't because he
did no wrong.
Because Everton attacked us down that side immediately, and a few times we got through, down the right or their right or left. But then
he had a funny old game, Burn, didn't he?
I thought Burn played well.
No, he did.
I think it was one where he
slipped for the goal.
There was a really bad
goal. He was with that man. He slipped. He couldn't get back. That was a goal. And then there was another one when the ball came over the top and he slipped again. Yeah. He just couldn't seem to keep his foot sometimes.
There was one terrible pass on half. They just give it one of theirs on half.
Yeah, just straight in there.
But apart from that, I thought he played really well. Probably what best.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you're picking at, like for him having a terrible game,
I've just said he was the best player.
Nobody said he had a terrible game.
You didn't relax. You were like, I just said he had an indifferent game.
Not picking up on the type 5 times Bruno passed us straight to their player or gave the ball.
Oh, Bruno was bad.
I've literally just said that Bruno gave the ball away with their goal as well.
Bruno was horrendous. But there's a few things though. Like for me, he's picking up the ball right. And he's trying to make something happen. And honest to God, there was nothing moving in front of me now.
You have to kind of picking the balls over the side.
There was one he got a bit unlucky. He actually the player ran inside. Right, he thought he was going to run outside. And he didn't. He went out for a goal kick. But there's loads of times he's traveling with the ball and he looks up and there was just no one moving.
But again, that comes back to the formation, doesn't it? Having only him and Tonali in the midfield.
Yeah.
Normally, if he'll pick it up, one of the 2 in midfield has gone ahead of
him. Mark, where I was looking at you going, this formation just isn't working. And it got half time and we were going, we need trips to be brought on and just go back to the formation that we used to play in. Because, like you mentioned, the 2 players in Bruno and Tonali, they were just sat in the same role and nobody was pushing forward. And again, well, of course, we're not going to get them further up the field because everybody just stuck.
Yeah. And particularly when you are playing against Everton, who were having people sitting in front of the back 4 to protect that, which did make it really, really difficult for it to break them down, which is why we were kind of having to rely on like long distance shots or trying to work so many passes to get some sort of effort. And the couple of times where we actually did get it in the box, we made Pickford make a couple of good saves.
Early on in the game, especially.
Particularly first half, the
2
Gallowgate end, they were good saves.
I think there were saves you would expect them to make.
Maybe not the
World
second one from
class,
Isak.
yeah.
No, I agree.
I
On
agree with that,
the follow-up.
I thought the best save of the
Gets
game
up
was
really
Pope
quickly.
made that.
Yeah.
That save he did was
It was
absolutely unbelievable.
very similar to the save he made at Wembley, I thought.
Aye.
He's
Yeah.
pushed over his right hand a bit.
That was a wonderful
Did you
save.
get in the last 10 minutes of the game, Bestie? Did you get flashbacks of Wembley? Because I was so nervous in the last 10 minutes, and I felt as if I was back in Wembley again. Like I was just waiting for the inevitable to happen as a Newcastle fan, where everything's going to go tits up.
You think Villa were going to score?
Yeah, and it just obviously it didn't happen. But I was like, normally, I'm quite vocal at the ground and stuff. But like the last 10 minutes, I was like silent, and it's probably the same as what I was at Wembley. Because I think I wanted a goal. Like right the way through that full 90 minutes, I was like, just give us a goal. Because that's what felt we had. We've progressed and we've got Champions League football and we've earned it. Of course we have. Yeah. But we just didn't get that moment to celebrate during that moment in time.
That would have been nice to have had the goal, yeah. No, it was kind of the performance. Weirdly, I have thought about it, but how I've contextualized what Wembley is, it was the performance that I worried would put in at Wembley. Where we didn't turn up. We've said time and time again. I remember my thing before the cup final was, I just hope we turn up and score a goal. I'll give us something, because I've left Wembley a couple of times now in Newcastle once in the League Cup there, and gone like, that was terrible. It was not terrible, but it wasn't really what I came to see. Whereas this year the final were absolutely brilliant. Like they played out both the park from
start to finish. Yeah.
And yesterday, beg your pardon, was like I wish we'd done something. I wish it'd been a goal to celebrate for Callum Wilson. Ideally, I would love to see Wilson score.
It'd be nice for him to get that 50th goal.
Yeah, because it looks. I mean, there's talk of him getting a
pays you play.
Incentivized, isn't it? Contract maybe, which we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what.
Well, let's stick and discuss about Wilson, because basically I'll stay with you. Wilson at full time, he's the rest of the players are hovering. Then Wilson comes straight over to the Gallowgate, really, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he starts clapping. Then he walks back. Then Eddie Howe sends him back there as well. Yeah, Eddie Howe sent him back. Was it Tyndall? Sorry.
Yeah.
So Tyndall sent him back.
Yeah.
Then obviously he does it again. He's crying his eyes out at this point. He starts walking towards the dugout. And I think it's Tino and a couple of other players that go back, give him like a big hug.
Botman,
and you're thinking, right, he's definitely off. Like,
mine was thought the Brad could do the same in Arsenal.
True.
Yeah, he was really upset when
Wilson was. You could say was like
he was in
that definitely felt like it was he's not like guy.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because we know he potentially is past his best. He's had a lot of problems with injuries here, but as I say, 49 goals in the time that he's been here. He's been a hell of a servant.
He's been here for a long time.
We've sat on a lot of these podcasts and talk about, how he could have be our big striker, go on in big records, and if it just hadn't have been for those injuries and unable to keep yourself fit, it's just put a sour taste on it all.
He's been a great number 9 forward. He has.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
He's had the injuries. He's had Isak in the last couple of seasons being like what he's become. And his first 2 or 3 seasons, we were a really, really bad team as well.
Him and Maxie were running the show.
Aye. So
his goals kept winning the league. There's no doubt.
I think so. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. And especially in the COVID season, the last full season before the takeover, like we were crap. But Wilson and Maxie were the ones that kind of did the business for it. Oh no, I would love to see him score again. I'm dead happy with I just you couldn't really have asked him to do more than he's done for. I don't think it's a shame the injuries have gotten, but that's not his fault. I think that's just the amount of injuries he had. There was that one in Forest where he bumped into somebody. His peck fell off and all that.
Head fell off.
He's unlucky.
Loads of weird little things that have come. And he's 33-year-old now, so I think it's getting towards a point where the recovery is going to be harder. He probably will never be. I mean, he'll not be the same player as he was when he was 27, 28 when he signed for it. But nice, he's been great, and he's the 3rd top Premier League scorer, isn't he? Behind Shearer and Isak. A fair player,
It's a shame as well, because Eddie Howe was questioned about it as well in the post-match conference that he does, and he basically saying Wilson's probably the best he's been in a long time, but the issue is that Isak's having such a great season that he's not really getting the minutes, unless obviously we saw the injury to Isak earlier on.
Yeah,
do you think it's a right thing to do in regards to look at his contract situation again and say, because we've addressed it so many times, that saying yes, he's a great player, but the issue is minutes on the field. So do you think that's a right step forward to go, right, there's your offer, that you're going to get an incentivized contract where your salary is going to be lower. If you're fit, if you're playing more games, you get a better wage package.
Yeah, a performance-based contract. It makes perfect sense given his age and his injury record. It makes perfect sense to me why you would do that, because you're protecting yourself as a club, because you don't want to shell out loads of money, right? And then he doesn't play a single game. But also for Wilson, clearly it doesn't look like he's going to accept that offer, right? Because certainly the way how emotional
you
he was.
can't blame him either, because he'll probably get an offer with another club where you're going to get a salary.
Well, there's already talk of Leeds being interested in him.
I heard Coventry mentioned it. Obviously, Coventry boy as well, isn't he? So that could be a nice little.
It's whether you want to drop down the Championship, though.
True.
I think
he might do for them.
He might be better off doing it.
Does he support them? Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. From Coventry.
He
played for them.
Oh, he did. So that might make sense, because it's pulling your heartstrings a bit, isn't it, right? But I think the club have done really well there, because I've always said this: every player has a sell-by date, right? And that's his. Almiron, we've seen him and come and go, and he's gone, and that's it. Wish him all the best. Wilson's been an amazing servant, and you just progress again, right? And you go again. It'll probably be next year, the year after. Shea'll be away. Love Shea to bits, right?
I'll be heartbroken the day he leaves.
It just will come. Trippier might leave. It's going to come. I don't want any of them to leave. I want them all to stay 25-year-old if you can, but they can't.
That's just not how it works.
We've just got to unfortunately move on. We've moved on from Shiraz. We've moved on from Beard. We've moved on from great players before. Like hundreds of players. Yeah. I don't want to lose any of them. I wish Shiraz was still up front. I wish, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's not, and you have to. He has been a min servant. He looks, in my opinion, I was saying he's great in that, but he looks off it for me. He looks like he's lost a bit of a yard of pace. Never particularly.
I think he actually looks. I think he looks a bit quicker.
I think off the ball,
the fitness.
I think off the ball he presses really well, and he's quite quick that way. But I just feel when he's got the ball, I think Chris said he's like running in jeans, and that's what I think when I see him. Like it's been tough for him though, because the games he has where he's up front and he's only against Arsenal away. It's a tough old job.
And I think the big bit is he's not getting regular minutes.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get that sharpness. He's not going to get the match fitness because he's not regularly.
And look at Isak's performances. Let's be very fair. I love Isak, right? But he's also struggled. He's looked poor.
He's been fit, has he?
No, I don't think so. Because I was screaming yesterday to get a Sula on way earlier than what happened. 4 minutes as well.
He looked dangerous when he came on.
He always looks dangerous.
Oh, he's not good enough.
I did not actually look at Mark and I went, he's like ready to go here. Like
Isak was doing nothing. He just kept losing the ball. Wasn't making any runs in behind because he probably can't. Because he was coming deeper and deeper and deeper. That was probably frustration that he couldn't get the ball.
He was playing right in front of the defenders.
Yeah, he's got nobody coming to support him because there's nobody in midfield there pushing on to help out. So that and Isak's had the same over the last few weeks, right? We know there's been that fitness issue, but when you're not supporting your striker and getting in and around him, and that's what Everton did quite well. They were coming to those second balls and stuff there, because there was a lot of it where it was just long balls up looking for Beto and stuff like that, and then looking to win that second ball. Like rather than flick-ons, it was like knockbacks or letting our defenders win the header.
Botman had a difficult job against him. Like
he's a big, strong, powerful.
I like him. He's a decent player.
Yeah.
So, but
the Presto High as well. But they really would struggle with that like a lot when they.
It was a funny one. It's a funny one because like obviously the change happened at half time. Sorry, I'm going to go back again for a second. Gordon obviously come off for Willock. And was there a problem with Gordon? Because I have to say I haven't heard anything since. And that's my fault.
The fact he was bad.
I think it was just more of a tactical change.
Oh, really? Because he was horrendous. Like I mean, he was absolutely awful.
Just to try and get control of that midfield and get back into a shape.
It's just annoying, isn't it? I think sometimes because you've got Barnes, you've got Gordon, then you bring on Willock, and I just feel all of them are on the left hand side of the field. They're all on top of each other. They're all in each other's space, and I'd rather personally, if you're going to play Gordon and Barnes, I'd rather Gordon be quite close up with Isak to help Isak. You know what I mean? One of them. I just feel everyone just even when Willock just drifts out wide again, and you're back to where you are.
I can't remember Willock doing a single thing.
No. Well, I honestly forgot Barnes was on. If I'm honest with you, for some periods, but Willock didn't out.
I think they struggled quite badly. I think Barnes and Gordon with the shape of the team, the five at the back.
I think it ruins a lot
because there was nobody overlapping either of them allowing a ball to come back for them to make it, because they kept the two wing backs, as Chris said earlier, just kept coming inside into the middle of the pitch.
Shea got booked and he almost belted Murphy. Now I didn't necessarily think he had to pull the lad down. I thought it was good. In his mind, he's thinking, "Charles, I'm going to take it."
Have to.
What was Murphy doing there though? Like he had about 4 times to release the ball, and then he lost it eventually. Murphy was horrendous.
It was a bad one from Murphy yesterday.
I think all of the wingers had a poor game, like every single one of them. Murphy, Barnes, and Gordon, all three of them. I thought
Ashley Young's about 50, right? And Gordon's having to dive against him in that. Like, what's he doing?
Gordon was terrorising him. Like
Ashley Young, of all the blokes that complain about somebody diving.
I mean, but it wasn't terrible.
The one where he did. clip him was
terrible.
That leap that Gordon takes to jump over Ashley Young's leg. I said, I was like, there's no way that's a free kick.
I was stunned he got the
No
free
way.
kick for that. Like, I was stunned.
But you're right, Bessie. The fact that Ashley Young's the one screaming at the referee for a player diving,
Yeah.
I'm like, you're having a laugh, yeah, mate.
The irony wasn't lost on his there. Like.
But anyway, back there.
So some good news, Mark, and I'll go to you because this is your favorite player of all time. Dan Burn gets a contract extension. Thoroughly deserved as well.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, we'll go to the cards later on, but he's got to be up there for player of the season. He's been absolutely unbelievable.
I think he's probably mine, actually. Yeah, I think he's probably.
Honestly, I can't even remember who I've picked. Like, to be fair.
Those are new to the podcast or haven't heard us do this. We'll do something at the very start of each season. You can see the envelopes in front of us right now. We've got 4 envelopes. Each one of us have predicted, as I remember, it's league position, top goal scorer, player of the season, flop of the season. I think there might be a 5th, but I can't remember what it is.
League position?
That's what first. So I think there's 4 or 5 that would do. We are not going to open them on this very live stream, though. We are going to open these afterwards. We're going to record a video on that as well, which will go out for members first as well.
But he's been fantastic, and he's had a hell of a season, hasn't he? It's just gone hand in hand with what we've done as a club.
Burn is
I think
he's been my player of the season.
Great.
I think everybody right now, if you're picking a player of the season, I think majority are going to go with Dan Burn. Like,
I think it's
some people might go,
isn't it?
Might go to Tonali. I think some people might.
Joe Linton.
I wouldn't, but
I had a text off my dad a couple weeks ago.
I think we'll see a text off Joe Linton.
No.
Pick me, bestie.
No, my dad just texted Joe Linton a couple weeks ago about doing a podcast.
Well, just that's it.
And just Joe Linton. I'm thinking, I don't know what the context is. And I was talking to him like a few days. He says, "All right, they're talking about player of the season." I was like, "Aye, fair enough. Actually, Joe Linton's good."
Your dad, there's actually a comment section on the screen if you ever.
Joe Linton had a spell where he wasn't great, but our downfall in the last few weeks has coincided.
Oh, he's a huge man.
Definitely found it harder without him.
It's a big one.
You don't half notice when he's not.
Lewis Hall, we mentioned him a couple of weeks ago. He's had a fantastic season when he's been there. He's been very unlucky.
Tino as well.
The cup final.
Tino's been pretty.
Tino's done really well.
So not only the one, like you know how much I absolutely love him, but he didn't really he didn't come in the team properly until December. So he's missed a good 3 months of the season.
December before time.
That's what
regularly.
I think I said this last week that you do forget the start, don't you? The start of the season.
Yeah.
It seems like almost 2 seasons ago. That's how long ago it seems.
I remember the kind of the lowest point of the season.
Don't forget him wanting how out the from the start.
No, I remember that.
Well, the low point in the season, a lot of people was the last game before that big run went on. We got beat 4-2 off Brentford.
Yeah.
I watch it in Poland.
Well, that was the turning point in the season.
It was, and that feels like that could be, like you say, that could be last season. But I suppose technically it is last season now. But you know what I mean? That could be months and months and months before it really was.
Do you think Howe should be manager of the season? Because I think Slot will get it given he's won the league on his first attempt. But given he's won a cup and he's finished the Champions League.
They fell off towards the end of it.
They finished 7th, isn't they?
Yeah, 7th. Yeah, because with our 6th.
I think
there's 2 less than us
with Slot, because I was thinking with Slot, because there's somebody I can't remember who it was. I think it might be in the Overlap podcast that we're discussing this, Degger, and they said Slot, the things. Yes, he's gone in with a very good team. Yeah. Said true. But even Neville was agreeing. To be fair, he said that he went into a team that had a very good team. He's inherited a great team, but a team that had issues with your 3 best players running out of contract. So for all that to be sourced in your first season in the Premier League, he's absolutely steamrolled it.
I'm not saying every single. I certainly was of the opinion that there's no chance to win the league, and actually I thought they might go backwards, losing Klopp. It might take time.
The lowest points time to win the league since Leicester.
Yeah, and I think they've
really dropped off since. That's really dropped off. I mean, they've still been good.
Like, just a huge gap, though, isn't it? Like,
there's no one really challenging them. Really.
But that was what I was going to say. They've had an easy run to it, really, because. Decker's team dropped off at the crucial point. It feels Man City haven't been at the races at all. The fact that we could have, been pushing for second, third.
But we would have been second if we won the last 2 games. We've wound up 8 points behind Arsenal.
So that's how it's so. It is mad when you think of how good of a season we've had and how good I think we are, and what God knows how many points behind the winners. Like it's mental, isn't it? It's really tough.
But we've done it like our kind of season was based on 2 good runs of form. That one after Brentford, before Christmas, and then one around the time of the cup final.
It's consistency.
So many points in those 2 spells.
Like to be that consistent to win the league. It's
and even
immense.
Liverpool was only brilliant until the cup final, until we got beat off PSG.
What was the week before? Wasn't it that?
That's when
because they had the Champions League in there.
PSG beat them, then we beat them at Wembley, and then had a bit of a wobble for a few weeks. But it was never any danger that they weren't going to win the league.
And you find that a lot. I think I said this in the group. Like you can be Forest, for example, is one thing. You can be amazing for say maybe 9 months. You can be so good, and then when it's at the business end where you've got a final or a semi-final, and you can blow it, it can just totally explode your season on. You've done so well for so long.
Well, and that's why people shouldn't be, wanting to how out at the start of the season, Chris, because the season is 38 league games, and like.
But he's done what you asked him to do. You said get in Europe because we had no European football, right? Get into Europe. We've done that, and we've actually gotten a cup, which I don't think anyone really expected.
But even then, if Villa
could have won the FA Cup
questions, mate.
If Villa got a point yesterday,
I will do in the cup.
Our season kind of ends on a real downer, doesn't it? If we finish like that's how we're sitting here now going.
Well, especially you saw the players' reaction at full time when they thought they'd fucked it.
Yeah,
you saw the reactions; they looked deflated.
Shea was the one. Someone else was down.
And I think that's probably been a bit of a combination of why Sunday went the way it was, because there's a lot of pressure on the fixture. There's the fact that it is at the end of the season. They looked exhausted at times, and they have in other games running up to that. So I think the pressure. We've seen it again in the past where trying too hard to do things rather than being relaxed in the football and stuff like that. You look at that fixtures,
Mark, and Chelsea's the only one that didn't fuck it up.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, Villa, they're complaining about their game and the referee's decisions, but they were absolutely abysmal.
Did you see?
Someone who watched that back.
I only seen the stats, obviously, because I didn't watch the game, but I checked them at one stage, and Man United had 8 shots on goal. 2 on 5 corners or something, and Villa was just 0 right across the board. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I just didn't expect that, because as Man United's coming off the defeat of the Europa League, of course, it's been a bad season for them. You just thinking Villa's going to
fully expected Villa to win that, but
exactly.
I think they just had the same situation as us. It was too much at the final hurdle.
And it's a funny one. I don't think I'm ever going to bang this drum about they've got nothing to play for. Again, I see that a lot in my. They haven't got much to play for. Everton had absolutely
nothing
to play for.
No,
and they rolled up there and beat us, and we had everything to play for. So you always think that flip flops are on the loungers. It doesn't.
They were great though.
I thought from a away performance, I thought they were really good.
I thought they were really good defensively. I thought
which is it's more, isn't it? That's
couldn't break them down. They had multiple chances there. Calvert-Lewin should have scored.
Missed a sitter at the end.
Oh, the could have been 2 or 3. Honestly, it was a great
performance as well. There was one Pope
that one in the first half was unreal.
He has one of these chests in front of us in the second half where he doesn't move. Like he's coming out and meant the ball and it's hitting him, I think it was his shoulder and bounced away. But there's no recoil. It hits him and it's like he's made him melt or something like that. I think Pope had a really good game yesterday. You can see Pickford's kicking. Pickford's kicking is brilliant. Like a couple went out of play.
Only one. I think there was one that went out of play, but numerous times when we're closing Pickford down, like, it doesn't matter. He's just going to pin this to somebody.
There was a couple of these right foot as well. That he's obviously left footed and kind of. But
he's taking the piss at times because something he's bending them around players to like get it in behind them and stuff like that.
It's brilliant when he puts the ball down. It's amazing to see the Everton players scatter. Like it's obviously pre-rehearsed, right? But the way that they all get into a position where, as you say, when you press, he's always going to have one or even 2 options every single time. Whichever way you press him at, he's going to have an option. And you're right, his distribution's amazing. Like,
it was really good.
And that's where I think Powell wants to go down that route, doesn't he? That for all we know, Pope can save, and that will get that.
Pope's a great stop.
But you've got to be able to keep the ball. Like, it's just modern football.
Sticking with goalkeepers best season, I'll stay with you because you're the resident goalkeeper right here. How lovely is that goalkeeper shirt?
Well, the purple one, it's dead nice, isn't it? The blue one's nice.
Fantastic.
The new blue one's smart as well. I mean, it's just the Adidas template, but it really works very well.
I assume the third one's going to be green, you would think.
Apparently
yellow or green, you would think.
I've heard green because obviously the away kit's apparently green as well.
So we've had blue and pinky, purple and green the last couple of seasons. So
I should have shown you. I downloaded that mod for the game, so I had all the kits on. And the second one is green, similar to that. From what they're saying, and to be fair, every other strip is being correct, and there's been weeks ago this thing, and the third one's the seahorse one. That looks really nice. It's got Adidas Originals logo. If this guy's got it right, I'm just saying, but every other strip he's put on has been.
Apparently, the third kit is going to be based on that one with the Originals logo, but I don't know if it's not going to. I've heard it hasn't got the stripe, the orange and green stripe. That it doesn't have that. It's got those colours, but not necessarily that design.
It's not featured in an Ascot Ball. So you don't see football shirts like that very often now, Bestie.
No, I don't. It was weird because obviously the sponsor was offset.
Man City had one. White with
they did.
Norwich had one.
I can't imagine the seller being offset. It just
it worked well with Brownlee because it was the circle, so you could kind of get away with it a bit more. Whereas the seller one's a block of text, so it's going to be
to do a central line.
Well, could you not put the? Hang on, where am I looking?
Underground.
Oh, where am I looking? Well, just look at that one then. So you could you not have the line where it should be?
Yeah.
And then have you see the block of the cellar, that being the sort of
Logo.
dominant over the stripes, and then have the cellar just have.
You could theoretically make this sponsor big.
Turn sideways.
You could have a hoop.
Nah, I don't know. I think if that just goes along,
like Ajax used to,
it could go right along there. I think fine.
Did Ajax? Oh yeah, they did.
On Abenham Road,
Ajax
on the side.
Yeah.
Now you could have a hoop, man, like the 96, 97 one, the light blue denim one.
The denim one, yeah.
You could do it.
That was like 3 stripes, wasn't it?
Scott said Man City's home kit next
season
like has one on it.
It's a sash.
Or a WWE belt.
It's a sash. Goes across,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
It's blue and it's got like a white.
What were your all thoughts on the kit now that we've seen it on the players?
Reminds us loads of the one that was wearing the Europa League in years ago.
It reminds me so much of a Wonga one, the Rafa one Townsend in Ronaldo era.
It's the Virgin Money one for me.
It looks better on the players on the pitch because you can't make out. You can't
see it.
You can't make out that stitch detail. It's just thick black and white stripes.
Do you know what it is?
I don't mind it. I think it's all right.
I thought when I saw it on the players, I would like it more, and I didn't.
No,
I
I'm
didn't like it.
I don't think it's okay, mate.
The white shoulders as well just didn't look.
It looks very white on the sleeve.
Do you know what the issue is?
I didn't mind the back. Even though
We-
it's got quite that.
A bit.
It's like 3/4 of it.
Same, yeah.
Well, we had a bit of an argument with once again my brother Adam in the pub beforehand, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
And Marky was saying that it's not based on the 95-96 shirt when really the Shepherd's pattern, which we've already done a podcast on, is that.
Yeah.
But it's so more detailed in the new shirt compared to what it was, because the 95-96 one, it's actually in the fabric, whereas this one, it's just printed on and it just looks
like
cheap.
And it's got the white goes over the black stripes,
so you can see it more. It just looks really cheap.
We've had it a few times.
They call it a shepherd's check, right? When you read it,
that's
it's shepherd's check. Yeah, it looks shite.
Yeah,
it's like we've had it on
It
that
really
one.
does.
It's 100%. It's that.
Yeah, you're right.
Mark's got his shoe off. I thought that listening to
Everybody grab an Adidas
Mark's got his
and have a look at your
Shepherd's
stripes.
shoes on.
It's that zigzag there.
It's not quite that. Like, but Real Madrid, I've got that, and there's the sleeve stripes are going to be zigzaggy.
Yeah.
Apparently. But no, the Shepherd's check thing we had on that one. We had it on the one that we liked, the Gary Speed one with the brown heel with the blue bit in the collar.
Oh,
that's got that on it.
Wonderful.
The one where we had the white
99
shoulders.
2000. That one's got it. Yeah.
The 93, 95 one had it as well.
It's much more subtle on.
I get
it's
it's been there many times, but the way it is now, it's very. It looks like a DHgate version of that style.
It looks cheap. It looks cheap.
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all. And I did think, don't worry, Decker, when you see it on the players, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Nah,
I like it. I like it more on the players than, but it doesn't really matter. I like it more on the players than when you see the leaks and all that. Like, and it looks a bit.
I think the issue is, Bestie, is the difference between the pro kit and the kit that most people probably buy. What's that called? Is it just the
fan
support? Always call it the fan one.
But we had that with the.
I know, but
away kit this year, didn't
collar mark.
The home kit this year. The home kit this year.
Horrendous.
The collar was the same though on the home kit, wasn't it? Was not just the.
It was slightly different. But
it had very similar to the new one in that it had the kind of the bit, but the fan version one, or the winners had the big black V there in the middle.
Yeah.
Whereas on the players one, it doesn't have that. It's just the white stripe goes to the collar at the top.
It's just that black collar on the fan one is.
I don't like how it looks like. Well, that's why they do it, isn't it? That's why they make it that little bit different. And it's different enough to get people to go, I don't want that one. I want that one.
Scott's put a great comment in that. I mentioned this, I think maybe you, but West Mark, and I'll throw it out to you. So the season's coming up, Kit, the one that the lads were wearing yesterday, will probably be the last one featuring the crest. So does that make you want to buy that even more, even though you don't like the shirt?
No, I'll buy the away one or the third one if it's nice.
I think I'll probably get all three, like just because of the fact that it could be the last season with the badge on it.
I'll just wait until about this time next year,
when it's like 20
because there'll be 30 quid, like the current three versions of.
Big boy sizes, or you've got to be.
Yeah,
there's no big boy sizes left.
No.
Yeah, probably not. I don't think I'll get it. Like, if I'm honest, mate. No. Do you know what it is?
This has come from somebody that spends half of his life in the club shop.
It might be.
I'll be jobless soon, so I'll not be in there again. But I actually went in the wardrobe the other day and I got the cat because I was going to wait tonight because we're in the Champions League. I got.
Is that what you call in the club shop now?
You what? Sorry.
Is that what you call in the club shop now?
Oh, my wardrobe. Pretty much, and I was going to wear it because it was the last Champions League one.
Aye.
And that is a hell of a shirt. It's for me.
Last season's one.
Aye.
It's nice.
No.
2002,
well,
3.
Oh,
sorry.
the rubber.
No. The one we got in the Champions League with most recently.
Oh, we got in with the white collar and the white bit.
When you were saying last season's, I'm classing as like because we've won the new one for one game.
Yeah,
I'm classing that as, you know what I mean. Yes, that one though. Honestly, I got it at the wardrobe, and it is a wonderful shirt. That the stripes are mint. I love the collar with the white detail on, like the little white stripe. It's just lush.
Was that the last Castor one?
Yes,
wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. The Castor kits were
and
nice.
the badge is embroidered as well, which I'm a fan. Honestly, I just lush. And had the Champions League badge on, which of course gives us all on. As soon as I seen it, I got the cover and going, the champion.
Would be 2 seasons into our Adidas kits. We return them all sitting here. Well, I've got the Castor top one night. And we're saying, no, the Castor kit's really good, weren't they?
No, honestly,
we sat here and said the Castor kit.
We always said the design was nice.
Yeah.
It was just
I thought
quality wasn't
just
great.
everything else.
I think so. It's Matt had a big dinner, so I mean, this is huge.
I wore mine to paint in the other day. That's how it was. Dropped down my wardrobe. No, just like the black one that's got the big Castor wings on it when you cast.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah,
I wore to paint.
That's a nice T-shirt.
Well, it's got covered.
I thought the Castor stuff was pretty nice for the most part. It just have a tendency to drop
that current kit. It feels like it's an amalgamation of like 3 versions of home kits that we've had in the past, just put together.
There's too much weight on it for me.
Yeah.
It's too.
That's for me is the detail between the stripes is just too much, and the white sleeves.
Yeah, it's very busy.
I like the design, nice, a good girth to the stripes.
Oh,
Collar's all right, although there's that bit between the pro and the supporters version. But yeah. That's just from distance. It looked absolutely fine. I didn't mind it.
We've got a comment which is fantastic. It's from 1981. That says Decker gets invited to the staff work parties.
Did we have YouTube in 1981?
I wish.
I think it looks dead nice with the Champions League stuff on it.
It's lush, isn't it? Like it's absolutely lush.
Well, that's because that's like just a kind of like a classic, isn't it? Shirt, isn't it? It's just like
that
a little bit retro.
Well, I got it afterwards when this was selling it without seller on it, and it's a lovely shirt.
Oh, I remember that. You got like really on
like 15 quid or something.
That's a match warm on that. $2 grand.
I think the new looks kind of with the Champions League. I mean, it's in the dark. I think that's all right.
It looks better in the dark.
It looks better
because you can't see the stripe
details.
details.
Look at it properly, it looks weird.
Like that's the proof of the advertisement. They're putting it in the dark.
It just feels like it's that. To me, it's like the Juventus where they had the blurry stripes. That's what it feels like and looks like to me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
But especially when I look at likes of that and I'm thinking, that Castor one. And the thing is, I'll probably not wear that again because obviously it's the Adidas era, right? And but I look at that shirt and I'm like, oh, it's just beautiful. It's perfect. It's just perfect.
It's a nice shirt, that one.
Yeah. Look, Raza said long sleeves are back as well. So, Bessie, we all know you are a huge admirer of a long shirt. It's
exactly
a long
shirted football sleeve.
I am. Yes. I am a big fan of a long shirted football sleeve. Yes.
It's probably due to your height and girth.
Very possibly. Like, well,
where you win that sleeve. But once again, we've spotted a couple of issues with the long sleeve on the fan version.
It looks
like they've just found a bit of material and stuck it on.
That's again, this season was the same. The fan version of the home kit this year was the Adidas stripes kind of in there, and then it's just a block of separate material, black at the bottom, and they've done the same on the fan version of this new one. But on the long sleeve one, they've, like you say, found an extra bit of material and stuck on the bottom to make it long sleeve.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of that, really. But I'll get the long sleeve.
Yeah,
I'll probably not get that one. I'll get the.
Oh, imagine the third one, long sleeve.
It's just it's down to the sleeve advertising, isn't it? That's
it's been the same for years. That gap in the Adidas stripes. Yeah. I mean, I remember the last the championship kit we had. The bruised banana, not bruised banana. No, the banana and custard cream. That was the one that had it. That had the proper version had a gap in the sleeves where you get the.
It's because of the obviously on that side it's the Premier League logo.
Well, Champions League.
That's
logo.
why. Yeah. The rules were brought out for Champions League. So you've got your Premier League, your Champions League, your Carabao Cup winners patch.
Oh, I didn't get the goal patch.
I don't think you get a winners patch.
Do you not?
Who won it last year? Liverpool won it, didn't
let's just pretend we do.
Liverpool won it last year.
They're doing for a Carabao.
Oh,
I think
we should be gold defending champions.
Unless they change for next season because it was super special.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously why you had the gap was that, and then your sleeve sponsor, isn't it? So, but it just does spoil it a little bit.
I don't think it's necessarily the gap that bothers me. It's the band that's on it.
Yeah,
seems to be a random band on it.
It looks like it's 3 bits of material, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's plain white after there, isn't it? And
no. But if you look closer, there's a band above it and a band below it, where it looks like they've just stuck some material on it.
It looks like raised. The shirt sleeve kind of the Adidas bit ends there.
Looks like non-band.
Then there's a plain bit, a bit there that's kind of from the stripe to the bottom where the short sleeve would be. And then there's another crease, another seam there, beg pardon, where the sleeve stitch.
Weird.
Looks weird. Like in this one, it's one bit of material over top still, not Chris's because you're wearing short sleeves. they're all like one bit of material.
Aye.
Whereas that one's got like
from the armpit,
a seam there, and that's the rest of the sleeve goes down there. It doesn't look good.
So do you reckon they've just had like they haven't made long sleeve ones, so they've just went, oh, we better make some long sleeve ones and just get this short sleeve shirt and add this bit on?
I think it's a standard thing to do. I think Man U's long sleeve ones have been the same.
Arsenal's was the same.
Yeah. I think it's just how they do it now. It's been a shame, really.
Look.
Shall we go through some questions?
Yes, please.
If anybody has any questions, send them in. We'll go for another 10 minutes or 10, 15 minutes or so. This isn't a question, but this is from Paul Patterson that says, thank you to all the YouTube content providers for brilliant output this season. That's obviously including GallowgateShots. Thanks, mate. Jules also follows that up. That says, not a question.
You've not read Jules, have you?
I echo in the earlier comment saying, thanks, lads, and all involved with GallowgateShots for another year of quality content and banner. Thanks all. Really great to catch up last night too. So yeah, I did meet Jules for the first time last
Allegedly.
night. Despite Mark still saying, I'm sure you've met before. Like when we're literally meeting for the first time. I'm sure you've met before. But yeah,
it's a rumor started.
Yeah, we met up with a few people last night. What time did you leave last night? I don't know, about 12:30 or something.
No, I was earlier than that. I was in a bad way. Two nights on the row. I'm getting too old for that.
It's
it was like 70s.
Ema came out to mine on Saturday to watch the playoff final, right? And I drank quite a bit, but I was all right. Hey, I was flat out by 9 o'clock. I was just snoring away. I was gone, done. And the Ben had like our friends sleeping over and stuff. And Lisa was like, she went, did you not hear them? I went, nothing. I was just
comatose.
Done.
Right, let's see what questions that we do have that have been sent in. Scott says, did Lascelles get any sort of send-off at the TV focused on Wilson but didn't show Lascelles at all?
No, he was very inconspicuous, wasn't he?
Like, I think was even there.
Yeah, he was there,
was he?
But he was very much just
blended
in amongst the crowd, and like he wasn't. So you don't know whether that means he's
had an extension, hasn't he? Contract extension.
Yeah.
So,
great news, that.
Wow. Thanks, club captain.
Oh my god.
Some players just have more value off the pitch than they do have.
What's the crap with Gordon then? Everyone was saying that he was on his own. Everyone went near him.
So, right.
That's nonsense.
I think,
I'm just asking
once again, there's been way too much made of this because Gordon's one of the first players on the field, if I remember right, after the celebrations, in regards to when we got the announced that we got Champions League football. Then he's with his partner and there's two young kids. There's one kid, which I'm guessing is about 2-ish or something, just running around. So his attention is on the kid. So he just wanders around. He's just walking with his band, playing with bands and that. Then like I've seen a few things on social media saying, "Oh, like he's separated from the group and stuff like that."
I did wonder that. Like when I must admit,
he goes back,
like, not all the way. Like he kind of does a Didier Deschamps.
Yeah, but he was walking ahead of everybody else.
No, he just kind of went around a centre circle rather than kind of getting. There's probably nothing in it, but because he hasn't played very well for a little while, and people put two together and they would talk with his head being turned by Liverpool last summer and all that. I think Gordon's all right. I think he'll be fine. Did you see one thing I noticed towards the very end? It will be right in front of you, so actually, there was someone throwing a bin up near, but really high.
Oh, it was one of the coaches.
Was it?
I saw was flying. I was like,
whoa.
He's trying to get a pigeon down from the roof.
Don't tell me you didn't do that with your kids.
See the size of my kids? I
don't mean now.
With him launching them as well.
I still do it now, but like not that high.
I used to like with Nolan. I used to absolutely launch him like.
So it's because your goalkeeping reflexes have gone. But after all
these years,
I'm
going to put his gloves on. I missed that best.
They're used to it.
I'll drop him in. That's something happened to be Mr. Best 43 from South Shields, former goalkeeper. I never Sunday League goalkeeper.
Right?
But I think too much has been made of daft little situations like that. But it's always Gordon, isn't it? It's always Gordon.
I remember when Gordon. was it Bournemouth away when Gordon and Howe had a bit of a spat? Remember?
Just fine, hadn't he?
Yeah, and
I love Gordon.
He was out of order then, though.
He was.
He was. I'm just saying, though, people go, "That's it." He's blah blah blah.
I think it might have been Ian Shock in the comments that was saying, "Well, why is he not wearing his kit? Has he probably just had a shower? Like that's all it is."
He had the top on. He had the black top on.
He had
his training gear on.
Yeah. I think he's probably just had a shower.
I'll tell you who.
Why would he be wanting to wander around in his sweaty gear? Well, probably wasn't sweaty, to be fair, because he didn't do much running around in it.
He did, in fairness. He did.
He had grass stains on it.
He always sees loads of ball in the first half, but when he's on the pitch, he sees a lot of the ball. But he had that one shot that went over the top, and then it's just some bad passes and stuff like that, and he didn't really get anything kind of.
He looks like the Gordon I seen at Everton when I was like, I don't think he's worth 50 million when Chelsea were after him. Just flat as to deceive loads. But then we had this sort of patch of him where he was absolutely unbelievable.
He struggled. He's struggled since he came back from the sending off, I would say. For
if I'm I'd go all the way back when he come back after Liverpool head turn, and there was times he's not really right yet. Wolves away, he's not really at it yet. Then he had a bit of a patch where people go, that's a bit more like it. He hasn't been.
He had a funny summer last year, didn't he? So, sorry, Mark, I'll not be long.
I will get this point out.
He had a funny summer last season. He went to Euros. We were paying for him to get time at Euros. He didn't. He got like 2 minutes against Slovenia, something like that.
The end of the season, so
and then he didn't go to the Japanese pre-season tour because that's when he's having his break and all that. Like, and he was a bit late coming to the team. Then I'll give him the full summer this year, see what he can do, because I think
he's never had that since he's joined.
No, I do. I love Gordon. I think he's got a lot to offer still. And it doesn't help when you've got defenders sitting back as well, because it's like Maxi a little bit. Maxi, if we were trying to break, Decker wakes up. If we want to break, Maxi was the best bloke in the world to have, because you get the ball in behind the defenders, and Gordon's a bit like that. I think he offers more than Maxi. Not to be of course, be upset, but like if you can get Gordon in behind the fullback, then he's one of the best players in the league. But with a fullback in front of him, he's going to cut in size, and his distribution and his end product isn't always brilliant. And also the change of formation, the team doesn't help him either. I was looking at Kev Lawson put a thing on Blue Sky earlier saying
good lad, Kev.
I like Kev.
Yeah,
his drop off statistically hasn't been that big in the last few weeks. It's just noticeable.
Yeah,
but it's not a huge. It's not like he's all of a sudden he's the pits. They're somehow doing good.
And that's what I was going to say is when people talk about Harvey Barnes coming into the team and hasn't he had a great season? Look at the goals he scored and all of that kind of thing. Him and Gordon have scored exactly the same amount of goals. They're both joint second goal scorers for this season.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's the difference. People saying Barnes has done really well since he's came in.
It's because Barnes
forgetting. It probably goes back to what you said before around people forgetting what's happened earlier in the season.
Said, so Barnes started the season really well, then dipped. He scored that one at Wolves. He got a few early doors, I remember, and then did he get injured, Barnes, or he just wasn't picked? And Gordon, he wasn't picked because he handed a transfer request in, didn't he? Apparently,
allegedly,
apparently heard that he did. And now he's had that run when Gordon got suspended. Barnes came for the cup final, played really well, scored a few goals afterwards. And they've kind of had opposite seasons where Gordon's had the better middle, but start and ended hasn't been great. And Barnes had a great start, dipped, and then had a better ending.
But then that's why it's worked out well for us, because we've actually had a bit of consistency there, albeit two different players.
Kind of dovetail.
And we are trying to it feels like we're trying to shoehorn them both into the team a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you look at what they've done from a goal scoring point of view, it's been a nice trajectory, because if that's one player scoring 18 goals in a season, you're thinking, God, they've had a hell of a time.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's nice just to see that little bit of
18
sharing around.
18 goals from that position, you could probably say.
Luke Curse has commented in something that we haven't even highlighted. Says Gordon was better when Hall was fit.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because he'd have a natural. And I used to bang the drum about Maxi all the time. You need someone overlapping to take a defender away. You need help. Sometimes Gordon's getting the ball. He's got the right back, the right winger, the right back, and then sometimes even a centre midfielder coming across. You're in big trouble.
But then equally, Barnes has done better with Tino alongside of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Tino can get forward.
It's the player style, isn't it? And obviously the different. Yeah. Because Barnes isn't necessarily looking to be that man that takes the run on, whereas Tino's been doing that more. Obviously, that first game at West Ham was seen the first half it struggled a little bit, but then it improved.
I loved Tino did one of his little trademark runs yesterday where he just keeps on going and he looks up and goes, I can keep on going. Yeah, he's just skipping past players. Like
he 5 players on him as well.
He did down that. He had no help for a long time.
He had nothing in front of him, and he went.
Gordon was hovering to his left, and he just kept going. Nope, I'm going to keep on going.
Well, it was like
did he win a free
Gordon
kick?
Just he got free kick. Gordon either needs to just get past him to then get a ball through, or just what I think he tries to do is just to drop off and see if he can pull one of the defenders with him.
Yeah.
But they just all keep going and following Tino. But I mean, he takes it from practically our corner, the edge.
I love it when he goes on those runs
up to halfway into their box, into their half.
He's capable of doing it, Tino, as well. Like he's good enough that he can do that, and you get something at the end of it. If it's a free kick, whatever it is. And he played in 3 different positions yesterday. Tino's went right back.
His versatility is unbelievable.
He's
a better on you, isn't he? Like he can right back 1 minute, left back the next, and
he's a really
obviously when trips come on, you can move him at left back. And there's no issues at all. He just slots in great.
Let's go fly through some more comments, questions. This one's from Fish and Rods, one of our regulars, that says, which big European side do you want to play? I'll throw a caveat on the end of that. Would you like similar to what we had last time, or would you prefer
Well,
one big team. Well, it's also different now, isn't it?
Yeah, how many games is it? Sorry, is
Eight.
It's
It's 8, but it's 8 different teams.
8 different
You
teams.
don't, you don't do home and away.
Yeah.
So you do 4 home and 4
It's
away.
like a
but
league
it's-
sort of thing. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think, so you're obviously going to get one big hitter.
Mhm.
I think you get 2 from each pot. Don't you? I think you get 2 from pot 1. 2
I
from
would
James.
love Real Madrid. Like,
St James's.
be unbelievable.
That'd be nice. Yeah,
Be
that'd be
unbelievable,
nice.
yeah.
We've already kept Mbappe quiet in 2 games. Like, might as well.
Aye.
I mean, I did have a look at the pots earlier, and you can see, I was looking who's in and thinking, God, it's a proper tournament. That like it's a huge, like, even in pots 2 and 3, like that you can lose a lot of games there. Like,
There's
They'll be
looking
looking
at us.
good. Even in pot 4, there's some good teams
there are.
in there.
But we're one of them. Again, as I said this about the last time round, teams who looking at pot 4, see Newcastle thinking, well, we want to avoid them. If you're getting someone from pot 4, you want to get like
How are the Dutch teams looking?
Ajax and PSV.
Ajax collapsed, didn't it? Was in the season. So
I like a Dutch team, like.
Well, that went down to the last game, the league title.
I if you reality, I want someone that I haven't played before, and we've done Barca a few times, or Inter a few times.
There's quite a few Spanish teams in there.
Yeah.
Obviously Italian as well. Germany. Germany's
Juventus,
got a load of teams in.
That's Europe for you, innit? I suppose.
I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked us on last
Coefficiencies.
night. Was last night? Yeah, last night. Somebody asked us about somebody that watches the podcast, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name there. But he said, "Will you ask Bessie this question?" We've made a big deal about it being tainted, the likes of the Champions League, how it's going down to the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
We've
Top 17.
we've managed to get that 5th place in the Champions League now.
Yeah.
So he basically said that. Has your opinion changed on that now?
No.
The fact that it's us that have got that place.
I'm very happy to be in it, obviously, and we've gone in kind of the parameters, but I don't think it's the top 5th. The 5th place Premier League team shouldn't be in the Champions League. The Champions League should be the champions.
Would you rather have the 5th place German team be in the Champions League?
I would rather it was the Champions League was just for champions.
Yeah, that's what he.
But
But
then
then remember, he's not asking for Germany to get 5 teams.
No, I know, but that's
He's not asking that.
That's
you
the whole reason why we
always
are.
throw that argument back. I go, well, we're the best team in the world, the best league in the world.
what
We're
do
not
you want?
interested.
Would you want the Champions
No.
League to be 16 teams?
Yeah,
Well, it's
that'd
the
be good.
Champions League.
I mean, lovely that. Like,
I'm
I'm
happy-
I'm actually.
But then
maybe-
that's not the
How many-
the Champions League, is it? It's
The European Champions Cup. It's what the tournament
That's
was.
what it is.
so if you do, so you have to completely change the format and go back to that.
It
But
would
then
be-
it's not the
I mean, the UEFA
the
Cup.
money making
Oh, well,
situation that it is.
We're
from-
not that though,
Money,
Mark. We're not that.
I'm sure we all agree that money's probably the worst thing in football.
I actually kind
That's
of
the
when I was
worst
a
and
kid.
the best.
When I was a kid, when they did allow the 2nd place team, and I actually was for that, even though they're not the champions. I used to think, well, you finished 2nd because I think it was
It
Man
was
United and
us.
Blackburn
It was-
got in. But we didn't get
yeah,
in
we
at
did
that
the
point.
same
It
as
was,
well.
No, we finished second in '96.
UEFA
Didn't
Cup.
get in, and then finished second in '97 and did get in. So we were the
That's
first
right.
place team. to
Yes.
get into it.
yeah. So I was okay with the 2nd ones. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you've done really well to come runner up. But then when you're 3rd, 4th, 5th,
I don't think it should be.
I'm obviously brilliant. I'm thrilled with it. But
Same,
I
I'm
mean,
delighted. I don't think countries should run football clubs either. To be honest with you, like, and that's another one of our things. But no, I don't. I'm delighted to be in the Champions League. I'll be all the games next season. Dead happy. I'll be saving the little printy ticket things on my phone and getting the programs and all that. And I'll be buzzing all summer, listening to the Champions League music on drive and all that.
Yeah,
But
yesterday.
the 5th place teams shouldn't be in.
Well, then you
Champions
kind
League,
of then go on about the virtues of Champions League football and how great it is if you don't have that within it.
It's just the European Super League, isn't it? It's not really the Champions
It's a
League.
watered
It's
down
called the
version of
Champions
that,
League,
isn't
but
it?
it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's not for
Well,
champions anymore.
that's it. It's not just for champions.
Yeah.
But it's the that's the thing. It's the best teams in Europe.
I mean,
That's what it is.
They got to the stage where
Yeah.
fourth place would have a playoff. Like like a qualifier. Now even just finishing 5th, you're in.
Aye.
Like it's even
There's no-
I thought 5th might be a qualifier to get in.
It's
Not
weird
even that.
because if we'd have finished 10th, we would have had a qualifier for the Conference League, even though we won
That's right.
the League Cup to get it.
Yeah, yeah.
And yet Tottenham finished 70th because Tottenham won the European, so it's a bit of a different one. But finishing 5th,
That's
Gets you
the
straight
bit
in.
I don't agree with at all.
I'm conflicted about that as well because I agree. But they've had to do that to keep the Europa League as a kind of viable, something worth winning.
A priority.
Because it's been weakened so much by the Champions League being so big.
Yeah.
Because we've now got extra teams in the Champions League from last season because of how the structure is.
You don't get away that the Champions League teams drop in the
Not
Europa
anymore.
anymore.
No, that's all
Which I
done now.
think-
But that's why we've got so many teams
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
Champions League now, because you're not then
No,
doing that.
we've got loads of teams in the Champions League now because of money.
Yeah.
One ass.
That's what it's all about.
There's a
It's not about it's not a
fantastic,
sport endeavor anymore.
It is
How many people
devaluing
want-
the Europa League.
The big thing
do
about
agree
being in the
with that.
Champions League, most people probably couldn't give a fuck about being in the Champions League if the money in the Europa League was equivalent. But it's such a all I've read today, the stuff about Newcastle and Villa and this refereeing thing is how much money it's cost Aston Villa. Yeah. And it's such a shame watching that Man U and Tottenham game last week. The UEFA Cup's a great old tournament. Europa League as it is now, sorry. It's a brilliant old tournament. The trophy's iconic. It's this massive 15-kilo behemoth thing. And all they were talking about was this gets to be the Champions League next year.
And that's why I wasn't winning the trophy. If we qualified for the Europa,
winning the trophy should be the reward. I mean, I don't mind them because they've had to do that carrot, and it makes teams keeps them interested. Man U and Tottenham, if it hadn't been for Champions League qualification, wouldn't be asked to win the Europa League now.
That was one of the worst games of football I've seen, by the way. Terrible. It was a horrible final.
It was only when Man U brought Zirkzee and Garnacho on, they started having a go at Tottenham for 20 minutes, and then it just died off again. But the whole thing of the Champions League, the Europa League, they've got to have that carrot at the end of it, saying, "Oh, you're getting a Champions League because of this." And it's all about money, and it's shite.
But why wouldn't you just bang on about the same thing? About why wouldn't you just qualify for the Europa League again if you win it? Defend your trophy.
I think that used to be the case.
That should be the reward, unless you qualify for the Champions League through league position.
Well, that would be if the Champions League can become so bloated by allowing fifth-place teams to qualify, then that would be the case. But
they're just trying to.
You've got to have then more teams in the Europa League.
The Champions League did for the Cup Winners' Cup as well. Remember the Cup Winners' Cup?
Yeah, loved the Cup Winners' Cup.
I love the Cup Winners' Cup as well. And it became a what the Conference League kind of is now for because quite often when they extended the Champions League to have more teams in it, the teams that were winning the cups were also in the top 2 or 3 in the league. So the Cup Winners' Cup became like it was shite. We got in at once for losing the FA Cup final, and that's ridiculous. You know,
Tottenham will be in the Super Cup final, and man, not in the Super Cup.
I will be against.
But then it allows smaller countries to then be able to have European football and be able to.
But they did when it was just the Champions. Well, it doesn't. Mark, you're wrong because the Champions, European Champions Cup was the first round proper. It was the champions of each country in Europe. So it could be Real Madrid could get AC Milan in the first round. This is going back like the 80s, 90s, when that was a big game. Yeah. Milan on the same team now. You could also get like St. Pat's from Ireland going quite far into it. Like the FA Cup, you can get quite far into it. You see like Yeovil or Woking do quite well because they just happen to get an easier draw. It's not seeded as such. That's how the European Cup used to be. So now, if Total Network Solutions, for instance, I might be wrong about this, but if that's someone of that kind of caliber, of the Welsh League, that kind of coefficiency, they've still got to qualify for the league phase. They've still got to play peers of around their standard to get through the league phase. So they most likely won't ever get to play Real Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan, one of the top English teams, Man U, Arsenal, Liverpool, whatever, because they are getting weeded out at the group stage bit. And it's because
they don't want the minute.
Yeah, they don't want a minute
because they're not good enough to be.
No, I'm just answering the question.
They've won the league, so of course they're going to be in it.
But that's like
it's all money, Mark. It's money because
so sponsors. Have you seen the fan roundup?
It's shite.
The new fan roundup on the overlap thing. Well, it's not the overlap, is it? But you know what I mean. Like, there's a new one coming out. It's got that. I can't remember his name. He's the numbers guy.
Kieran Maguire.
I think it's
finance.
It's the new one. It's only came out a couple of days ago, and I watched it today, and it's brilliant. Like, and it's all about the money of the Champions League and how much you'll get compared to Europa. And he's basically saying the Europa is not even worth being in it. Like for the cost of, and he's actually on about like the cost of flights for the whole squad to go over. Like he's going into that much detail of like that's how much it costs. Well, unless you get to the final, you might break even. So you can see why teams don't care.
I think Man U got 5 million for getting to the final, and because they've got Mason Mount, that cost them £3.5 million. So they've got £1.5 million for getting the final because Mason Mount straight away takes it off them. The money
I actually, not that I agree with it, but I do understand why they're saying the Champions League for the Europa, because they're trying to give it that carrot, right, and make it worthwhile winning.
No one would be interested.
Yeah, exactly.
Same as the Conference League.
I still would as a fan. Like, if we made it, I'd love to win that competition. I'm not going to lie.
Clubs aren't looking at the cost.
You're right, they're not.
The cost and the kind of financial recompense, it's not worth it. And it's just how football is. It's rubbish. But I'm dead happy to be in it. Don't get us wrong.
They're all banging the drum on that fan roundup. All of them having to go about the cost of tickets, tourism, etc. I mean, literally just banging the drum, right?
Yeah, you know, I have listened to that one.
I've been listening to it, and the Scouse lad saying it's £5,000 a game, apparently, for one game at Chelsea.
I think Carragher brings it up that saying the biggest touts in football right now are football clubs.
So anyway, they're saying all that, but at the same point though, next week they'll be on going, well, we'll have to buy that player, and he wants £400,000 a week. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm sorry, that. I understand you don't like that the game's all about money, but it is, of course it is. If you want your team to be successful, I'm really sorry, right? But you're going to have to put up with, we need to win this game because we need £100 million.
It just is. It's the pill like you're taking it. I keep on, I go on all the time about like Saudi Arabia shouldn't be that one a football club, but that's the only way we are doing what we are doing now, is by being owned by, by that being the case. So it's kind of the concession.
For legal reasons, we are not owned by Saudi Arabia, the country.
It's like Richard Marston. Richard Marston's watching this going, hang on a second, I haven't thought of that.
Why did I not think of that?
Coming back to the ownership and stuff, one thing I absolutely loved yesterday was Eddie Howe in his press comments saying, I'm going upstairs now to speak about transfers.
Yeah.
We need to be quick. We need to be, and I really love that, because normally he's always cards close to his chest, straight back, But I thought on his post match he was very much, we need to get out of business now.
Which leads me to the next question. And I didn't save this one, but I remember it. In regards to signings, I think Burma was the one that we've discussed it numerous times over the last handful of weeks. But apparently, Man United are showing interest in him right now.
Man United are showing interest in every player. Apparently,
you would imagine
all that team as well, aren't they?
They've signed Cunha, obviously.
Yep.
And you would have to imagine that not winning that game on Wednesdays has to have altered the plans a little bit. They'll still have money to spend, but they can't have.
Massively,
he's already came out and said the entire squad is for sale.
Oh, well, not that, but they're going to get
I think to leave.
They're going to get 100 million for Bruno, aren't they? So
yeah,
that's a decent.
He's
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is,
£1
I was watching that final and thinking, right, out of the two teams that are playing, Spurs and Man United,
which one do I want to lose the less?
Well, yeah, but I thought Spurs to get it because they're getting that Champions League spot, and you don't really want Man United to get that because that puts that drove going to Man United back, even though yes, they've had a horrible season, but they've got that Champions League spot, so they could attract players based on that. So I thought, give it a Spurs, 100%. Like keep Man United out of the picture,
because Man U are the more likely of the two. I think if they both have, if Man U would won it, they would be more likely to catch us next season than Tottenham. I think Tottenham are capable. I think they will. But like I was thinking this over the weekend, I'm thinking about Man United. I'd rather that Tottenham had won the Europa League and kept Man U where they are, and Sunderland had come up. If I had to make that kind of decision thing, because Sunderland coming up doesn't affect us financially, really. Yeah, there's a parachute payment thing.
You say that, but Sunderland are trying. The whole of the press in Weir side are trying to peddle the story that Sunderland being promoted is costing us millions as a club.
Yeah, it costs everyone millions.
Hang on, can somebody explain that to me? That isn't because of parachute payments?
If Sheffield United to come back up, then they would have to pay some of their parachute payments
back. Yeah,
where Sunderland haven't been up for 10 years, whatever it is now. So
all right, they're using that as like a pro.
So it's just a click thing.
But it means every club in the Premier League will receive
the same amount
£2 less. But Sunderland have cost Newcastle millions by coming up. Apparently,
I was on my laptop the other day, and it was Sunderland have cost Man U and Man City. The Manchester Evening News thing, Sunderland have cost Man U and Man City. I thought that's interesting.
Well, that would be the same story if it had been Coventry.
It's the same news group. It's the same. Just changing the headline.
Reach it is now. But it's the same. It'll cost Arsenal millions. It'll cost Tottenham millions. It'll cost West Ham. It's the same thing.
What they didn't put in there is it'll also generate us millions. Sunderland coming up because all of the away fans will be staying in Newcastle.
That is true. That is true, Mark. What I'm going to end it on that because it was a question. We'll quickly go through this because I don't want to spend too much on this one because we do have to do another video on this one. And it's from Huncho that says, "What's your lads' thoughts on the Derby being back?" He says, "I'm fuming they're back purely because I never want to see them happy, but the Derby being back is a nice consolation, provided we win."
And that is the statement.
I fucking hate it.
In as much as right, I know that you look at that and think where they are, where we are. It's not completely different leagues now because they're in the same league, but we're a mile apart. In every stretch of the imagination, we should absolutely muller them every given opportunity.
Look back at Fulham,
but it's a derby.
Yeah,
there's that niggling doubt. Even when we played them in the FA Cup last season, there was still that niggling doubt.
I hate it.
They were terrible as well.
Awful.
I
never want to play them ever again. Let them rot.
I'm the same. I don't want to play them again. But I've seen so many times I've read 6 easy points, and that's not how it works.
No, exactly. From it.
But exactly. With regard to derbies, I don't care. If Sunderland gets 6 points next season and go down and the 6 points come off us, I'm welcome to them. I couldn't give them. No. They can beat us every time. So I don't care if Sunderland beat us every time we play them, as long as we keep on doing what we're doing now. If we win it, so you're telling me that next season, if we win a cup and finish third, but Sunderland beat us twice, you'll be gutted?
Aye.
Yeah?
Nah, don't grow up, man.
I'd be absolutely good.
I'd be happy overall.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But it's still that that day and following.
I'd rather
I
beat them.
didn't want them at all.
I'd rather beat them if we're sitting here in 12 months' time and they've beaten us twice, and we finished second to win League Cup again, or whatever. We finish Champions League spots again, won the league again. I'm not going to complain.
There's no they'll finish rock bottom. Screen record this one now. They will finish rock bottom.
Screen record.
They need some serious
Clip
work
this
on
now.
that team. Like
They are terrible.
Like,
Absolutely.
do you know what it is though? Like it was just typical them that they've really had the backs against the wall for the 2 games against Coventry. Then they go in that Sheffield
They were so lucky.
and then you think,
So lucky.
bastards. And I thought this better not be my weekend.
The save he made in that first minute.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
It's not.
I think it's a nice
It's
save.
not
Like,
unbelievable save at all.
Oh,
It's a good save. It's a good save, but it's not. He should make it. He's going that way anyway. He's momentum.
It was
going that
almost
way.
behind him, right?
Nah.
He clawed it out. It was a
I've
great
never
save.
thought
the
that.
thing is, look,
was a
just
great
looking back at Derby's, I think what we'll have to look at
I was having a great
Derby's
goalkeeper.
is that
I mean, it's not a great save.
I think we'll just approach that game. Eddie Howe will approach that game probably like any other game, right? But you flip that round, and we know what it's been like with Sunderland over the years. We've heard ex-players come out and say, start the season, the players look at that game and think that's the one that we want to win. Whereas we've seen in Derby, especially that sometimes Sunderland come turn up and absolutely battered when everybody thought that we were
even the 6 in a row, the 6 in a row thing. I'd say 3 or 4 of those games we were the better team, but we just we threw a couple in. Was that one where Colaccini got sent off at the Stadium of Light?
Played really well at first.
Overturned that as well. That red card.
But that's why.
That's
That's why it's Derby's.
Yeah, and they're right.
And that's why I don't want to play them.
I don't want to play the Mile, but like I say,
we were on a flight back from Magaluf. That game, the
Sunday.
Colaccini one.
That was a Sunday. I was doing overtime. But like I say, I'd let them.
I just hope we don't have a Champions League game on a Wednesday. Away to bloody, I don't know, somewhere.
Real Madrid.
And then you've got them Saturday 12 o'clock or something. Oh my god, just didn't want that. Like, we just need to give her a free week that week, and then we'll play them.
But yeah, anybody that wants to mention anything before we go?
No, I think we've covered everything. But it has been the best season of all time.
It's been the best season. It's got to say that for in our lifetimes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you've got to say it's the best season we've ever had.
Does it beat the Fairs Cup for you? Like, does it?
You know what it is? I was nice as well. I thought I'm not going to mention that.
But yeah, let's wrap this up. Well, like I said, everybody will have got another video coming your way if you're a member. It is just $2.99 a month to become a member. But as it is the end of the season, thanks very much for joining us right the way through the season. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as what we have as well. And thanks to the rest of the lads which don't do the Monday show that have contributed to content right the way through the season as well with your match previews, reactions, canny chat, and everything else. So yeah, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. As always, we continue right the way through the summer as well. I'm sure we'll find something.
We're not even get a summer break to get on. You know, if you're on holiday to like Dubai or somewhere,
just don't get a summer send off. No, you do.
At least take one at Ocean Beach.
I'll take you to Ocean Road.
That'll do.
Thanks everybody. We'll see you very soon. What you guys doing?